is excused from the meeting. Perhaps, Richard, you could start just running through ID for the roll call.
Ideas for the roll?
Yeah, just identify yourself that you're here.
I know that. He's made it sound like it was something more.
No?
That's Julie gets seated.
Okay, oh, there she is, okay. So you,
Richard Weinberg.
okay.
Cody Willett, present.
Frank Alleman, present.
Fred Rulerman.
Paul Oline.
Ted Dobert, present. Glenn Archambault.
You're here.
Jaylee Stokes, present.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay. Are there any citizen statements other than the Economic Development Commission? No? Doesn't look like it. Oh, no. Thank you, though, okay. All right. Okay, folks, approval of the minutes, the regular meeting, September 24. Somebody would like to make a motion?
Did we get copies?
I'll make a motion to.
Richard,
I'll make a motion to approve.
thank you. Second,
Second that motion.
thank you. Any discussion? Any comments, any changes? All okay? Everybody's in agreement?
Aye.
Thank you. I would just like to publicly thank Jonathan Chaplin for the time that he spent with us. He, as you know, resigned from the commission, but what his input was valuable while he was here. He was very good. We will miss him, but I just wanted to publicly thank him for what he did here. Okay?
Can I say something?
Please do.
I prepared something. I want to take a moment to recognize the Reverend Dr. Jonathan Chapman and his contributions to our community. Dr. Chapman holds a Doctor of Ministry from Emory University and has been recognized with 4 humanitarian awards from local organizations since joining Westfield Congregational Church in 2012, including from Killingly Springfest and Danielson Lions Club, Northeast Connecticut Chamber of Commerce, and the Elks Club. Excuse me. He also serves on the boards of the Westfield Cemetery Association and the Westcott Wilcox Home. As a member of his church, I've witnessed his character firsthand. Before praying at a town meeting, he spoke up about reports of homeless tents being slashed. That's who Jonathan is, someone who speaks up for those who can't speak for themselves. When I heard he was involved with the Vision Committee, I knew immediately I wanted to serve alongside him. Excuse me. His genuine love for his community and commitment to making it better inspires others to action. Our town is fortunate to have had his leadership and service. I wanted to make sure his contributions are recognized and remembered. Thank you.
Thank you for that very much. Are there any other comments, or we should move on? Okay. We have with us tonight the Economic Development Commission, 3 members. We look forward to hearing from you. Please, grab another chair.
Probably
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, oh, that should work. Yeah.
Good evening. I'm Jill St. Clair. I'm the Economic Development Director for the town of Killingly, and we have 2 members of our commission. We have our longstanding chair, either side of me, very longstanding members. Bill Chang is our current chair, and Dale Damaris. You've been on the commission for 1997. So it's been a pleasure working with them, and they'll kind of give you some more feedbacks. But I wanted to start tonight just by doing a quick little presentation on behalf of the Economic Development Commission. So we're gonna leave that off. Now, this slideshow you're going to see, I had to fact check it with our acting town assessor to make sure that I was giving accurate information, and it's generalities. I mean, we could get in the weeds, but I just kind of wanted to give you an overview. And if you have any specific questions, please give us that feedback, or if you want more data, we can supply that as well. Okay, so next slide. So we're calling this land use and the Grand List development. And one of the things I'm hearing a lot of is, are we rural, are we urban? We have a rural characteristic. However, we do have a commercial base and industrial tax base. So this is not an opinion, this is just kind of facts of walking you through the process and the development of our Grand List. Often people pay taxes and they don't understand what goes into the development of that taxation. So back in 1963, the state of Connecticut passed a public act called 490, and it was a way to allow farmland, forest land, and open space to be assessed for property tax purpose based on its current use, not on fair market value. And it was a way to ensure that people could hold on to their land without getting taxed out. Next slide. So the program encourages private preservation for agriculture, forest, and open space lands. It is purely a voluntary tax relief program. It lowers the tax burden for landowners enrolled in the program. The classification is specific to the owner. It's a choice. It doesn't carry with the land. If you sold your land, that next owner could, in fact, enroll in the 490 program. I'm going to call it PA 490. But if you decide to change the use in the first 10 years, there's a penalty so that the town can go back and capture some of that tax revenue that they've abated or discounted for those property owners. Next slide. So we like to talk about acres here in the northeast corner versus square miles, like as many cities or square blocks, how they talk about it. So roughly, depending on which data you're looking at, is it 50 square miles or is it 48.5 square miles, depending if we're adding in water. But just for general purposes, there's about 30,000 acres of land in Killingly. And currently, there are almost 9,795 acres enrolled in this program. 490 or 640 parcels are under this open space preservation, private acreage. So when you look at the breakdown of land, that's almost 30% of our land mass of voluntary preservation. That's why we have such a rural character to our community. Next. So the effects of the program is that it has created such a vibrant community. It has created an abundance of privately held farm, forest, and open land space. We're not even talking about the state preserved land or what do they call it, the legal public lands. This is just private decisions on land use. But unfortunately, because of that, it's the catch-22, it can decrease the overall value of our Grand List. It can substantially reduce the tax revenue for the town. It can shift the tax burden to the non-PA 490 property owners. You don't own the land, you don't qualify. That tax shift burden goes to those owners, residents, commercial, and industrial properties. So everyone pays a higher amount to offset that difference. And potentially, if planning of land use is not done proactively, it can increase mill rates. And I can use neighboring towns, for example, like Voluntown. Voluntown has a significant amount of 490 and open space. So their tax burden is a little bit higher on the residents. It gets passed along to the residents. Plainfield, they have more of a similar population. You know, depending on how much of a commercial base they have versus how much is protected land, their tax mill rate can be different. I did send along our historical mill rates so that you can kind of get a feel as to, it should be in your package, the last, I think, 15 years. Okay, so that you can understand where our mill rate has gone. It'll show you the reval years. Next slide. Should,
So if I can just make a comment, or a question slash comment, Mike, I'm sorry.
Want to just make a comment, or more importantly, I guess more of a question. Being in a vision committee and having the questions of really where can the community go, what is good about living here, what can be improved. In one way, with the 490 program, the burden is on 70% of the landowners, one way or the other. Isn't that the kind of price of rural, so to speak? Similar to somebody who might want to move into a community with high, you know, a different kind of school system where they're paying much higher taxes to live there. It's kind of a same kind of thing, is it not? So isn't that, could this be construed as a benefit to Killingly?
all of it is a benefit. I'm gonna try mine on. All of this is a recipe, and it is a benefit. There's many benefits, and I'll go through, and at the end, you'll see where the balance is, what we're doing well, and where things could change. You know, if we do too much of one and not enough of another, to get that balanced view. So the,
I'm asking just for my education, to level it in my head.
Right.
That's what I got.
it's all in the making of a beautiful community, right? A vibrant community, but also a sustainable community. So, and things change, dynamics change all the time. So outside of that 490 program, we also have tax exempt state properties. Talking in acreage, it's about just shy of 1,600 acres. And what the grand assessment value is that. Now, is that a total abatement? No, but some of that we get reimbursed on, some of it is a lower discounted rate. Next slide. So then we can talk about community, the schools, our railroad, our nonprofits, our churches, our recreational parks, those town exempt properties, and what the value is over close to 300 million that is either severely discounted or not considered because it's 100% exempt. Next slide. So if you just rounded it out, not talking about the 490 program, about 15% of our grand list is reduced, severely reduced or exempt from the grand list. And, you know, one of the things that Killingly offers is the elderly and disabled tax exemption to make sure that people can afford to age. They've contributed to their whole lives. So at the end of their lives, we don't want to kick them out because they can't afford their taxes. So people can apply for the tax liability exemption program. And that comes up, you know, once again, there's a formula that's involved with that. Next slide.
I just noticed your slide is a little different to the one we have. You've added in
Yeah,
a
yep.
slide comment.
Yeah, I had to
Okay.
fact check myself with
Okay,
our
all right.
assessor, and he came in right
That's
before the
okay.
meeting, so I
Just-
updated it. So, and then there's something that a lot of assessors, and it's not part of the formula. I took a picture of the map of our community, additional non-taxable acreage. We have 130 miles of roads, they're 40 feet wide, it breaks down to 787 acres. That is not part of the grand list. State roads, we have about 401 acres of the state roads. And then we can talk about our two larger rivers that adds up to about 400 acres. We didn't do the whole river because the Quinnebog River abuts another town, so that would be their loss of revenue space or taxable revenue. So that's another 1,600 that we take right out of the mix, if that makes sense. Next slide. So if you add all of those exemptions and those discounts, it equates to about 45% or 50% of our total acreage is either exempt or severely discounted on our grand list. So what does that mean, right? It means great for preservation and conservation and open space and that rural character, but it means it shifts the burden. However, we have this great, robust commercial industrial tax base that is helping to offset that tax burden. So 42% of our share of our net grand list is commercial and industrial land. So what that does is it stabilizes the tax base for the non-PA 490 landowners. It assists in retaining land under the current use of the program so that people don't have to sell off their land in order to still live in this community. It provides the community a stable and diverse revenue stream to support public infrastructure and services. And then in economic development terms, we often talk about the cost of community service ratio. And it's not a negative or positive, it's just information. It's a key metric in understanding land use. So residential housing usually has a high expenditure to revenue ratio because you're potentially having to send kids to school and providing all those quality of life and quality of place services. Commercial industrial have a low cost of revenue, cost to revenue. They have lower demand on those town services generally. And then agriculture and open space have a low cost, but they also have a very low revenue. So you put that all into the mix into understanding the development of our grand list. Next year. So yes, we can afford a rural lifestyle because we have a robust business community. And these guys are probably going to talk a little bit about how we constantly have to be reinvesting in the wealth of our community, and that wealth is, those commercial industrial spaces that are underutilized or vacant. We'll be talking about backfilling those spaces because every space that's not filled is lost revenue, precious lost revenue to offset the tax base for the community. We'll also talk about being able to be nimble because businesses change, market needs change. There's an evolution of that progression of business. So recently the Crystal Mall down in Waterford slowly had become outdated. People's shopping habits are different, and it was a ghost town. But luckily, EB came in, and they're going to utilize most of it for office space. That was nimble of that community. Instead of just having this big empty space, they were able to evolve into a different commercial tax base. We'll also talk a little bit about how big business feeds little businesses. I often hear a conversation that, big business is gobbling up the little businesses. It actually feeds those little businesses through business-to-business transactions. Our contractors get paid, our landscapers, our restaurants get catering jobs. So it's not one or the other. We need both. And then a big business creates the jobs for a sustainable income so that people can go and support those mom and pops. You think about all those. If you don't have a job, you don't have revenue, you can't shop local, you're not shopping at all. So I'm going to stop talking and see if you have any questions and then turn it over to my commission.
Jill, if I may just ask, approximately 45, as you say, let's call it 50%, is then protected. Of the remaining 50%, how much of that is still supposedly rural? And therefore, isn't that part of what people are discussing? How much of it can actually be developed without people getting the feeling that the rurality is disappearing? I don't know if my question is clear there.
Well, it's a personal choice, right? People have personal land rights. If you want to protect it and not develop it, that's what this program's for. So it stabilizes your tax bill that you can afford to protect your land. However, some people may say, hey, I want to cut off farmers, right? They used to cut off a piece of property so that their kids could live next door. And then they had a piece of property across the street and, you know, they need a little extra money, so they're going to sell that piece off. So it's really personal choice. Nobody's going to come in and take that away from your protection away from you.
But theoretically, purely theoretically, all of the remaining 50% could be developed with housing or whatever.
Only if the underlying land use. I'm just talking about industrial commercial space. So you have low density, you have different zones that allow different things.
And that 50% remaining, how much of it could actually become industrial or commercial?
I think we're talking about two different things. I'm talking about
Okay.
percentage of land value, just the grand list and land value versus percentage of how we're using the land.
I'm more interested in 50% is protected so far, the 45 to 50 under 490 and all the other
Right,
things that you
right.
mentioned. That leaves a 50% open to what?
Whatever the land use allows. So when you look at your land use map, some of it's low density, some of it's medium density, some of it's rural, some of it's commercial industrial. We don't make that decision.
No.
You know, the planning and zoning and commissions
Okay.
have made those
I'm
decisions.
just trying to understand. And I know that it's no decision as to where people build or do things.
Correct.
One of the comments that's been made is that within town areas that already seemingly have housing, there are open areas still available that could be used, that would not impact on the rural areas. For example, Route 12, and I know there were difficulties with it, on the site that used to have the open air movie place, as one example. If you go on Rock Avenue, there's quite a bit of open there.
Correct.
And if people were to put housing there, well, it's in the middle already. Don't see a problem myself.
If
So
whatever
how-
the underlying zone allows and is permitted, that is
And that depends on planning and zoning then?
correct.
Okay, thank you.
But they have to adhere to the underlying zone. If it's a permitted
Yes.
use in the underlying zone, then those personal property owners make those decisions.
Okay. Complex. It's complex. Glenn?
Yeah. First of all, thank you. This answers quite a few questions I've always had about the grand list. This is
Yeah.
excellent. So I just want to understand the Public Act 490 a little bit better. So what are the minimum requirements to be able, it sounds like it's voluntary, you apply for it. And so what are the minimum requirements? Is there 6 acres, 7 acres? And just as a quick follow-up, what is the reduction in mill rate that is awarded to them?
So a lot of it is linked to soils, wetlands. There's a different formula for each kind of land, and the minimum requirements on that land. So I can pull that information for you and see what the Killingly, what their regulations are.
Yeah. And just so this is a follow-up then. What's going on today? So, is there any land use restrictions then placed upon the owner in terms of they've gotten the reduction in the mill rate? Can they use that land still to produce revenue? In any, could I grow apple trees on there and still get this tax reduction?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
The only restriction is that if you change the use of your land, so I enroll it as farmland, and then I decide I'm gonna take it out, and I happen to be in a medium density, and I wanna put housing there, then you'd be subject to that penalty if it's within the 10 years. So in theory, if you bought your house when you're 25 years old and you live there for 50 years, and you're enrolled in that program, you have that tax benefit for the duration. It's a voluntary program.
Are there any other, Paul?
Do you have an idea of how many people are employed in the town of Killingly by those businesses that are located in Killingly?
Unemployed?
That are employed? How many employees are all these businesses and commercial properties carrying, providing? How many jobs?
Well, I don't have it specific to those properties, that demographic, but I can tell you that, I think you guys got a copy of the annual report.
I have not had a chance to review it, so I
Okay,
apologize.
so right now, we have a 4.4% unemployment rate. The state is a little behind in their reporting. I think the state unemployment rate is 3.4 right now. But that 4.4 is the last reporting, and I think that was June. They were reporting out on
What I'm
June.
asking is, what, all the businesses that we have in Killingly, between Frito-Lay, everybody else,
Mhm.
Spiral, Colt, how many total employees are those businesses employing? Not necessarily Killingly citizens, how many people are coming to town to work in Killingly at those places? I didn't know if you had any idea.
I
Because that's obviously
do.
trickled down into the local gas stations and
Sure, sure.
and all the other things.
We know in 2021, we did a market or transportation feasibility study. And I can put that up online for you.
Sure.
And it was specific just to the industrial park, so it didn't, reach out into the other areas. Because, it was that, I came in new and I was like, okay, we have this robust industrial park, yet we traditionally had a higher than usual unemployment rate. We've come down quite a bit. So there had to be a missing piece, and what was that? So we did the transportation feasibility study through a grant, and we learned there was a heat map of where people were coming and where they were going. We learned that the industrial park employed 3,900 employees at that time, and that was 2021. But during that study, we also learned that 16% of our licensed drivers in Killingly did not own motor vehicles. So the cost of transportation had become a barrier. And so those are some of those conversations that we're talking about of, by people having physical mobility, they have economic mobility, and trying to solve that problem. And so we had spoke with a lot of the stakeholders in our industrial park to see if transportation was an issue, and often it was reliable, consistent transportation. And out there in the industrial park, it's not 9 to 5, they have rolling shifts. Sometimes you have to wait for trucks to come in to get unloaded, or trucks to come in and get people out. So our traditional bus service, and they were part of the conversation, doesn't meet today's modern day workforce. So we started looking at, Uber vouchers for employment and education and things like that. But that's a great question.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to key off and get a sense of how big business feeds little business. We understand the business-to-business relationship. I was kind of looking at, I always try to take a look at when an employer has 500 employees, there's a whole distribution of taxes that are paid by that employee, or revenue generated by that employee on there. I know I stop for ring dings, and I know where I stop for ring dings.
Right, right.
Okay, Richard?
This, rather than my reading statistics, do this help you at all? It has
Richard, do
breakdown.
you have your speaker on?
No, I don't. That was intentional.
Jill, I have the demographic breakdown of Killingly with the labor force and where the employers are, what categories they go to. And I'm sure you're more familiar with this than I am. Would you want to take a look at it? It's current.
I just put the 2025.
This is 20,
Right.
25.
Yeah, I put that in your package tonight. So
Okay,
you have
so-
2024, you have 2025. But the caveat on that is the state, if you look at the top, what years they're reporting out for. So it's usually the 2 year prior. So it's not quite today. It doesn't give you a picture for today, but it'll give you a picture of trends.
Yeah, it does seem to be quite thorough and covers the respective industries, manufacturing, demographics. And granted, it's a snapshot, but it's a very good one. And
Yeah. And we, they often, it's Advanced CT collects that information. We often, are called to fact check that information of who our employers are. They pull data from Department of Labor and things like that, but we get to weigh in on that as well. I'm a firm believer that the experts in the community are the people that live here. I live in a neighboring town, so I want to make sure that our Economic Development Commission can weigh in on that, any of this information. Do you have any more questions for me?
Glenn?
I don't, but I'm gonna pick up.
Sorry, Cody?
Just for clarification, what does big, what's the definition of like big business versus small? Is it revenue?
Great question. So Small Business Administration says anything over 500 employees. So think about Putnam Plastic, Frito-Lay.
And feeding into small businesses, is that a certain type of small business? You mentioned ring dings. Certainly, I don't know if a mom and pop's
I'm gonna be
laundry
known
yard
for that for a while.
could compete with a larger business. And one of the things that came up at our public meeting was the emphasis on trade training, apprenticeships with trades. And how can like a mom and pop's plumbing or electrical business compete with, or even a machine shop, compete with these larger businesses, or is there a way that works out?
So sometimes we demonize big business, and it's really unfair, I think, because it's human behavior. Human behavior dictates business success, right? So it's so easy sometimes to push a button and order something and get it delivered to your house than to get into your car. So how do they compete? A lot of times it's partnerships. We all remember Sears and Roebuck, right? They were around forever. They had an opportunity to partner with Amazon, but they did not believe that market share could benefit them. So they shrunk, right? So it's just the evolution of business. I always say, what is your aha factor if you're a small business? What sets you apart from, say, a big national chain, right? Those are the questions that businesses have to ask themselves.
And same with paying wages,
Mhm.
More affordable products,
Mhm.
at least to compete with the larger businesses, right? So
Right.
I just, when big businesses feed into small businesses, they're usually not the same
Mhm.
businesses.
No, it's not. It's exactly what you just said. It's the Frito-Lay that needs the 6-person electrical operation
Yeah.
to come in and do some small work for them
Yeah.
and stuff. And I think all of this fits into the vision of what we're hearing from about, I'm not saying we're never gonna solve the how, that's not our job, but it's understanding the dynamics of how things work around here.
Okay. Glenn, you had.
Yeah. So, because you mentioned the EB, so I guess my question would be, so EB identified a need somewhere over the past few years that they needed additional space. Are we ever actively involved in reaching out and trying to recruit businesses like that to tell them Killingly's open for business? Are we allowed to do that? Do we partner with commercial real estate agents to do that stuff?
Love these questions. These are great questions.
Well, is that word development that's in your title?
Yeah.
So-
So you look at the state of Connecticut, the economic development layers. So you have the state of Connecticut, and then there's Department of Economic Development, DECD, and there's a commissioner. And so they're the ones that set out policies and programs so that we can pass that information on to our businesses. So then the next layer is called Advanced CT, and they're quasi-public-private. And they are we're constantly engagement with them. I can say, hey, look, I have a commercial space ready for this kind of permitted use, this square footage, and they put it on their registry. I'm not a real estate broker, I'm an opportunity broker for the community, and vice versa. They'll communicate with me, say, we have this particular business, they want to land here, this is what they need. So there's a lot of communication. Advanced CT will be up in Putnam on Friday morning, reintroducing themselves to the area because there's a lot of turnover in staff in other towns. But that's a great question of recruiting. And some of that's you have a paid person that goes out and looks for opportunities for the community to fill those spaces.
A quick follow-up. So I'm assuming we've lost opportunities and bids. And we're thinking, going back to kind of the vision, like, what is your biggest obstacle to us winning those types of opportunities? And what would you like to see the town do differently
Here we
to
go.
make us more competitive?
So I can tell you that the hardest thing in economic development is attraction, bringing people here. It's much easier to expand businesses that are already here and give them opportunities. So I would say my biggest obstacle right now is the wastewater treatment plant. I have the wastewater treatment plant. And that is and that will be critical in actually retaining the businesses that we already have here, because they may want to grow, but they can't grow here because of that. That's stymieing their growth. So that would be the biggest obstacle. And we could talk all night
wanted to say
about
something?
missed opportunities, like with the mill redevelopment. That would be a whole night. We could talk about what's going on behind the scenes. But those are critical sites that have to be able to hook into the wastewater treatment plants. Otherwise, they're not going to be, they're not going to be redeveloped unless that
Okay,
happens.
she had her hand up.
Hi, Jill. Thank you for coming.
Hi.
It's good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Ted.
So at our meeting last week, we had some people bring some things up, and I was just wondering if I could just get some information from you. You might not really know, but that's fine. So I think they said Commerce Ave, there is one way to access the water, and somebody had an idea that if there was another spot to access, people could utilize that for kayaking or something. Is that something that we could do in the future?
That would involve Army Corps of Engineers. If it was me, I would say yes, let's do it. It would involve probably deep and multiple layers because you're changing the bank for access, and then again, private ownership. I don't believe the town owns any property on this side.
Yeah? Okay, hold on, Richard. Oh, yeah, Ted.
Just real quick, Richard. We'll give this mic a try. So I guess, when you talk about these things too, redeveloping certain areas, do you have any, thoughts or feelings on efficiency perhaps, or bureaucratic red tape? Are there things that you feel that maybe within, again, the realm of the town of Killingly's control that perhaps make developing some of these things more difficult than they have to be, or is it relatively a state issue?
I believe Killingly does a fabulous job. We do a team approach, so I'll get a potential realtor come in, talk about a piece of property, look at the current uses. We bring in the town engineer to say what's the sewer flow to make sure that it's not a significant change in that flow, and we'll get the fire marshal in, just depending on what the proposal is. We have the applicant come in and say, just tell us what your idea is. And so the building department we're all talking in the same room at the same time, so that they can have an accurate picture of what they can and can't do, what barriers they may have. And it's very rare. I don't think a lot of towns do that. And we get that feedback often.
Okay, so just to summarize, like overall then, it sounds like Killingly, it creates an environment that is supportive of these projects and businesses. It's less about things that Killingly perhaps is doing and more so things outside of their control.
Absolutely.
Okay,
We
thank you.
try. We try.
No, I appreciate that, thank you.
We don't try and create barriers for people.
Richard?
I was just going to say at the last meeting, somebody mentioned there was access to the river from North Avenue. And I was just gonna try to check ownership on that, but I'll defer checking the ownership to a later date. But the idea is that we have possibilities.
I think, again, sitting here as a vision committee, we have two questions, at least we have several questions, but there's two questions I'd like to spin for you, or for what you folks have to do. The first thing is, what do you love about Killingly? So my question to you is, how do you sell Killingly? What's the thing that you, caught the ring ding comment though. My question to you is, what is it that you sell? How do you sell Killingly, which is the equivalent of what do you love about Killingly? So, when you're trying to recruit a business, or you're competing with a playing field for a business to try to bring them in here, what's the thing that you talk to them about?
So I'm very excited about this community. The thing that I sell is that we make things. We have a long history of making things. It was part of our economic development layering, right, with the mills and our industrial park. We have two Fortune 500 companies here. We also have two world headquarters. So when the state folks come out and I talk about Killingly, I often say if you put a pin in my office and did a 60-mile radius, there's 5.1 million people within an hour of Killingly. And they'll argue with me and they say, oh no, Connecticut only has 3.4. I said, if you put a pin in my office, so strategically, we're in a very attractive place for these companies, but also strategically, we have such a great quality of place because we have all this natural occurring preserved land. So it's the best of both worlds, and you'll probably hear that a lot. But yes, we have a skilled workforce. We have an advanced manufacturing center that feeds our manufacturing, but we have great businesses.
That's a great answer, thank you. So I have the other one. I said, what's that one thing you would want to see more of? What, other than the sewage treatment plant, which I understand, and that's kind of I'm gonna look at that's kind of a short-term issue, we're trying to be a long-term committee. What's the thing that you have to sell through about Killingly? What is it, either perception or something along those lines? What's the challenges that you have to sell through?
So not internally, but externally,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes it's media.
That's what I meant
If you
about
don't
the
control,
perception.
if you don't control the narrative, the media fills in that gap for you.
Mhm.
So it's really selling the brand, and it's not really selling. It's we have a great quality of place. We're not selling this place. It's just the lifestyle, right? It's a very attractive lifestyle for both businesses and the people that live here, and the school systems. I cannot speak highly enough about our school systems. They do great things. I don't think they get enough recognition for that, but that's a really important
Yeah,
aspect.
it wasn't a trap question or anything along those lines. It's really, like I said, what I'm hearing is there's not a lot of things that you have to sell through. We've got so many positives.
Mhm.
So that's kind of what I wanted to get out
Yeah.
of that. So thank you.
And having pride in that.
Mhm.
Okay, Julie?
again, I know you said you're an opportunity broker, or was it not real estate? So when we were at the last meeting, we had a conversation, it may have been after the meeting actually, of something called a welcome wagon that we used to do here. And I guess to welcome the new people in town, there were like welcome baskets with like things from the different businesses and things like that. I was just wondering if we were to do something like that again, like what do you think that, would that even be possible? Is the population too high to do that? Or?
Did you grow up in the Midwest?
No.
That is standard operating procedure out there. So I believe it starts at the realtor level, because they usually have the interaction. They're the first touch point of welcoming people to the community. There's a group that Bill actually, I think, started it. We have a Northeast Commercial Industrial Real Estate group. And we talk about the opportunities here and connect and get that brand out to other people, but also at the local residential level. Because I had a conversation with a realtor, and they hear moratorium, lights are out in Killingly. And it's like, no, there's nuances to that. Yes, we have long-term planning, pathways with our wastewater, but we're open for business. And like just this last 10 days, we did 6 new ribbon cuttings. So businesses are growing, and they have an opportunity to be here. So it's just that education portion of it that we need to work on a little bit.
Is there a list of people that move here that we would have access to be able to like reach out to them and give them stuff?
Like this potential or already listed?
Already listed.
Okay, so public records, it's listed in commercial real estate, but you can also access that information. It's public information in the database down in the town clerk. And when people are moving in, and you can have addresses and things like that. And businesses as well, trade names are recorded. But it's that fine balance of, do people want to be solicited? So,
that's true.
yeah.
And in the presentation, there was a spot, I think it said underdeveloped or undeveloped land had the least amount of, I think, revenue. Is that maybe what it said?
Correct.
I know when I've gone to other places, like parks, they charge if you're out of town. Do we do anything like that here?
We do not.
Jill?
I have commission members here.
Yes, but you don't, please speak up if you wish.
Frank, I'm gonna answer some questions that were put out there. You asked about possible industrial land being developed. Okay,
Mhm.
so at the last meeting, I mentioned that I knew this gentleman out of Boston,
Mhm.
John Sawater.
Mhm.
And he told me that big business now, so people like Frito-Lay, United Natural Foods, and where Walgreens was back to where it was built for Child World, would not build there anymore. They want to be on the side of 395. That's where they want to be, so they don't hear the complaints about truck traffic, congestion going to the business. We have 80 acres or 90 acres parallel with 395. That's zoned mixed, is it still zoned mixed use? Allstate's property? Okay. It parallels Tracy Road, but it has access off of Lake Road and Tracy Road. There's 90 acres, 80 acres of land there. The problem with it is there's 2 to 3 million yards of rock gotta come off of it. So business today wants shovel-ready property. They don't wanna wait to take that 3 million yards of rock off of it. Okay, it's owned by Allstate Asphalt, they're gonna use it. They need the rock for their asphalt, cause it's getting hard to come by. So, my friend John said that Walgreens, as most people know it here, would not build that far off of 395 anymore. They wanna build, they'll pay more money to build on the side of an interstate. than they will to pay less money and move a mile off the road. You'll get small businesses, such as steel and wire, automatic rolls, that would possibly build that far off of 395. But big business is not gonna. They wanna be right there. They wanna be right at the, and at an intersection, exit or entrance. Again, we talked about the sewer plant. That's top priority for economic development. That needs to get done. I'm gonna go back to a question was asked about how friendly Killingly was. 15, 20 years ago, nobody wanted to build in Killingly. Contractors, businesses, nobody wanted to come here. They do now. They wanna come because it's friendly. I have taken, like I said at the last meeting, I work for just about everybody in our industrial park. I'm a small business, even though we did have 12 people, now there's only 3 of us. But it's so hard to get into Frito-Lay, Staples, big business now because you have to carry so much insurance. I've been working at Frito-Lay since 1990. I don't even send bills for snow plowing to Frito-Lay anymore. I send them to a company called Aribia. I have to pay them $1,300 a year so I can send bills to them. That's the way big business operates. Big business used to supply, get a lot of local stuff from town. They can't do it anymore. It has to be corporate America. Everything's got to go through corporate America. After 2011, or 9/11, I said, Frito-Lay fenced in all 39 of their factories. It was done by one company out of Texas. They went around and fenced in every Frito-Lay company. They wouldn't hire anybody local. So for small business to work for big business is tough to do. What big business will do, like Whitcraft, EB, I believe it's EB, gives a lot of work to Whitcraft in Eastford, and to I think Norm Ferrin got business from them. He has a small machine shop in our industrial park, but he can't. They don't work directly for EB or the big business. They work for somebody else and they do the work, give it to them, and then they package it and send it to them because they can't make it enough. That's what's happening with big business. So, like I said, industry wants to be, big business wants to be on 395, along 395 in our area. Sewer extensions. When a company wants to move in and to build a business, let's say somebody wanted to go to Rock Avenue because we have land on the west side of the railroad tracks that's zoned industry. Anything that's brought out there, sewer, water, gas, all has to be paid by the company. Killingly doesn't run sewer lines out. When I did there's 2 elderly housings on Valley Road, Primrose Village and Primrose Crossing. I did them back in 90 and 93. We had to run the sewer from up by Cat Hollow to those buildings. The taxpayers don't do that anymore. They don't do it. Water companies, same thing with the water company. You put a water line in for them, you turn around and give it to them after you pay a tax to them. It's really strange the way things is. But like I said, industry wants shovel-ready property, and we only have 2 lots left in Killingly. At the end of Louisa Vian's, and my son and his partner own both of them. They're not ready for development yet. There's one right on the side of Pepsi. There's 7 acres there. And then what is the company called that bought the rest of the land? Yeah, the people that want to do the,
Data center?
what's that?
The data center? I mean, battery?
Yeah, no, not the battery. No, the store. What is it called? No, not battery storage. The people that bought that land, what do they want to do there? They want to do, oh, sorry, can't say. Anyway, and behind that, my son owns 25 acres that we're leveling off, getting it shovel-ready.
So, I'm hearing you, and you're getting into, I think, a little bit of what we on the Vision are interested in. What are your thoughts, what are your commission's thoughts on how we can help solve the issues that you've brought up in the next 10, 15 years?
Well, back, I think, 2 plan of conservation and development ago, the land going up Westcott Road out to where the By-Right Lumber used to be is village commercial, was village commercial. We looked into running the sewer up there, and you had to have 3 pump stations to put there. The property up above Westcott Road where Walmart wanted to go, the problem with that is the water, there has to be a pump station to pump the water up there because no tanks are high enough to get the water up there. We have very little land that's shovel-ready, that has utilities, you know, gas, water, sewer, ready to go for other business. So it's been our interest is to help the businesses that are here, keep them here. I believe, I just threw some numbers down that I know of, and I think we're at least 4,000 people in our industrial park with Siri Wire and Spiral. The problem with it is they can't find help. United Natural Food buses people in from Worcester to help with their work. Help me, Bill, help me. Where's I going with that?
Okay.
So it's our duty to, I think it's our job, is what we've tried to do, pre-Jill with Elsie was here, is to reach out to these businesses, say, what do you need? How can we help you? So we want to keep them, because we have some good businesses here that pay some pretty good jobs.
Mm-hmm. What are the reactions then you are getting when you reach out to these businesses and you say, what can we do to help you? What are the issues, the biggies? You mentioned a
help.
couple.
Get us some help.
Transportation.
Get us some help. That's what they say. Get us some help.
What kind of help?
Employees, workers,
Okay.
workers.
Can I just have a follow-up to that?
Yes,
Is it because we don't, the people here don't have the right skills or training to satisfy those jobs, or just they're not willing to take on those?
One of the business, one of our businesses was gonna build a corporate building here. And it got through zoning, got planned, they were almost ready to put the shovel in the ground, and all of a sudden, they stopped, and the reason they told us is because we don't have enough help or enough qualified help. And that was the same study that was done, like I said at the last meeting, where Morgan Body is down at American Standard in Warwigan. There was 3 companies. There was the Body Company, there was I think it was Costco, and it was something to do with pharmaceutical. This all came from that Johnson Water guy. He told me this 5 years before Morgan, they all hired different firms to do studies for them, and they all come back with the same thing. There's not enough help, there's not enough qualified help in our area. The problem we have is with not that there's nothing in Killingly or Putnam to do, there's not, I wanna say, the right kind of things to keep our younger kids here. We work hard to send our kids to school, they go to school and they get some job in Boston making $150,000 a year. And they wanna live in a condo, they don't wanna mow their lawn, they don't wanna plant their grass, they don't wanna shovel their snow. They wanna drive home, push the button, and drive in their garage. If there's a problem, pick the phone up, have somebody call it, but there's not enough entertainment for them here. That's what they say. How are you gonna change that? I don't know.
Okay.
There was a question asked about what business looks for. And I've been involved with some time with business coming in. One of the first questions they ask, they wanna know about the school system. They wanna know about how our school system is, what kind of schools we have, their ratings, so forth and so on. Real estate people, that's what they do. They'll check
Mm-hmm.
and find all this information out before they give it to
Oh, yeah.
the other people to say what it is. That's the first thing they wanna know is about the schools, yeah.
One of the things that I found out is a lot of people, well, one, we don't have colleges, we have the Quinnebog. But when I was young And I think a lot of people, it's common to go off to college, gain your experience, and then not necessarily take a job in Boston, but come back to this town because they like it. And so there's a gap between when people, let's say, graduate high school and actually take up residence in Killingly. I've had 3 doctors. I'm new to Killingly, so I get to hear different stories. And my eye doctor, she spent over 8 years in Boston and then came back. And that was the case with one of my dentists. So I think to try to rearrange everything to the point where we're totally self-contained with training people for jobs in Killingly may not necessarily be the best approach. That we try to look at both to try to get people to come back here. But the school system is still paramount, because without quality education, we're not gonna get the people to come back.
And
But
I
to-
think that's the gap you're talking, there's a gap there. It's a good point, that's the way I kind of see things. You do have everybody going to Boston, you have everybody living in condos, pushing buttons and stuff. We've seen a lot of development in Boston, changing offices to housing if they can, et cetera. But at a certain point in time, you gotta figure out where you're gonna raise your kids. You know,
A
so
lot of
there's
the,
that-
a lot of
there's
the
that
younger generation don't want
15-year
kids.
gap, and that, you understand, is going down. But you've gotta be ready for that, what Richard's talking about,
Yeah.
that boomerang.
One of the, I'd just like to add.
And remote work, quite frankly, is helping us, but like you said, what are we gonna do here on the weekends? We're not gonna compete with Boston,
Yeah.
you know?
The
One
other
thing
thing,
I'd like to just add in there, about the jobs, when you said there are not enough qualified jobs. We have a lot of people who work in Killingly, who live in Charleston, Rhode Island, who live in other parts of Rhode Island, who live in Massachusetts near Worcester, and they should have the skill set needed to fulfill just about any position, and probably including aerospace. I mean, if you go down to Electric Boat, we have people who commute from Groton up here. So it's not it's not that far when you take everything into account. I mean, I used to commute from Johnston to Medford, Mass. That was more than an hour. And that's because that's where the job was that I wanted. So if the companies market correctly, I believe that they can indeed find qualified workers. That's pretty much what I want.
I think it's a little, my opinion, I understand what you're saying, but this isn't necessarily on the companies. This is a cultural shift.
yes, and
That's
just
what's going on.
I did not say there's enough qualified workers in this area. I did not say that. It was studies done by professional people for these other companies. I did not say that.
They were done here, the studies?
They were done along, well, the three that were, where Morgan Body was, back years ago, that was done by, from Thompson to Norwich. They said
Okay.
the whole 395 corridor didn't have enough people or enough qualified people to do whatever those jobs were,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Yep. The other thing is, Staples on Tracy Road, it's 307,000 square feet. When they first opened, I believe they had, I think it was more like 500, because they were running, I don't think it was that many, but,
900 something, because I served the food.
oh, okay, sorry, 900 and something people when they opened. They were open three shifts, right around the clock, 7 days a week. Now they're open one shift, 6 in the morning till whatever they work to, 4, 3:30, 5, depending on the season, they bring in, and I'm gonna say there's probably 200, 250 with the truck drivers that are there. Now, Amazon has hurt them, but what I'm getting at is, that building's 307,000 square feet, there's 11 plus miles of conveyor belt in that building. So, the northeast corner of that building, let's say that there's pens and pencils up there. They put a box on a conveyor, and it travels those conveyors down to a machine, and I was in there, and these things open up fast, and they kick them back and whatever. And the guy told me they're 95, 96% accurate. Go right down to a dolly that they load on, they're stacked there and they're wrapped. So automation has helped us. The problem with it is, you need people to fix those things. And there's nobody around here to do that. Staples hires a company, if they can't fix it in-house, they hire a company out of East Hartford. And they pay $180 an hour, port to port, for that gentleman to come out with his computer and hook to it and say, this is what's wrong with it. So we tried to, pre-Jill again, Elsie looked into trying to get that kind of business here. They said there wasn't enough work for it. But Frito-Lay is always changing things in their building. You know, that's what's happening. You know, Frito-Lay is, I think they're probably about 1,000 people now with truck drivers. Yeah, with 1,100 with truck drivers. But it's amazing in that plant how things go. The problem, you know, if you could get a tour of it, the problem is they don't do that anymore for insurance reasons. Yeah.
You mentioned the obstacles for a small business to serve a big business due to, like you just said, the insurance. So how, when it says big, the slide says big business feeds little business through business to business goods and services, it seems like it's a little bit harder to do that now than it was when you were attempting to, when you started.
Yeah.
So what, is there any advice that you could give an aspiring entrepreneur that would like to serve one of these bigger businesses? Or like, do you think it's just kind of like how would they be able to get in today if the obstacles are much greater and the expenses are much more?
I don't know how they would do that because insurance, I carry a $10 million liability insurance above and beyond my regular insurance, okay? You have to have at least $5 million to do this, which is a lot of money. I got into these businesses a while ago. So what some of them will do is if they need some little job done, they'll call me up and say, can you get somebody to do, or can you do this? Or can you get somebody to do it? So they'll work under me to do this, to get it done.
Third-party vendors?
Yes,
Yep.
yep, because if I can't do it, I work with electricians and plumbers and whatever to get these things, but it's tough to do. It's tough to get into the big business.
Is there anything
Did
that?
you want to?
Yeah,
Go-
no,
Go
well,
ahead. I didn't
all right.
really have much.
I want to wrap back to, if it's so difficult because of the land use to get new businesses, you want to keep the businesses that are here. And that seems like it all goes back to the sewer plant. If we don't do something with the sewer plant, we're done.
When they built that sewer plant in the 70s, I was told that plant was built to do the city of Hartford. You can't even take care of the town of Killingly now.
My understanding was that the rules changed in terms of.
They did.
definition,
They did.
And that's a little, I mean, that's a gut punch that nobody saw coming, right? It's hard to plan for. And the problem is they're probably, I'm in construction, that's probably the slowest, other than building a bridge. Wastewater treatment plant is one of probably the slowest things to design, to do diligence, design, and then build. It's a long process.
Okay, let's just move forward again. You've been giving us some good ideas of what you think are the difficulties in the future. What else do you see in the future that you would really like to see to make this town magnificent?
Your turn.
Sorry.
Maybe just throw a question out there to them?
Yes.
So, so we've talked about big business, we talked about open space. Tell me what your approach is as a commission and a team around small businesses, attracting small businesses. And what's your thoughts about this downtown area? What would you like to see?
For me?
Yes.
Okay. Let me introduce myself first, okay. Bill Chen, I live here 41 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I start with the J Garden. J Garden, Killingly, Putnam, and Plainfield. So 21 years ago, I become a realtor. So 2 years later, I become a broker, say I open my own. So I live for Killingly is a by somehow is I call it accident. You know, because I don't plan to stay here this long.
Thank you.
I live here long enough too, you know, so wonderful. Yeah, wonderful. You know, I see that, you know, the town of Killingly allow a change. You know, so if you ask me, say that how we go to approach a business, change with the time. The time come, you know, people change. You know, say you know, your need is a change. So everything is a change with the time. When we move in, everything is probably the pricing is lower. But today, if you see the real estate market, it's almost 10 times compared 41 years ago. So supply and demand. Town of Killingly, I believe, say from our economic commission, you know, the point of view is say we do everything we can, you know, say from bigger, you know, manufacturing, see what they need. We reach out how to hold them to getting together, you know, so say what you're looking for, you know, how can we do, what we can do to, you know, say to help you. Go back to, you know, the small business. So we do have quite a few small businesses, even we start from small business. We see the struggle, you know, say, because we don't went to, you know, say, college to get a, you know, say, accounting degree to come here to open the restaurant. So a lot of things is say that you learn on the go. And of course, if you can see the supporting good old day is you will see the, you know, adult education they have accounting, wherever is a program to teach you how you're going to deal with this. Yeah, Southeast have some program too, you know, say, even, you know, say, Quinebaug Community College, they will tell you, you know, say, how you do the bookkeeping, how you do the user software. So at the time, they say, when we start 41 years ago, look at your cell phone, today's cell phone and computer, you know, good old day is a buggy, you know, it's a whole bigger one, you know, so expensive. So I think there's a time, a change with time, and how we go to attract the, you know, the people come visit. I don't see that's some, you know, the big, you know, the large question right now today in Killingly. Look back, you know, a few days ago, you know, say Halloween parade in Main Street. 40 years ago, you don't have a Halloween, you know, Halloween parade in the Main Street. I involved with the, you know, first couple years when I, you know, involved with the Springtime Festival. You look at it today, you know, see people all change. Yeah, we're getting better, you know, so quality of life. Why people moving in come to Killingly? Of course, the people moving out. Yeah, move to South, move to somewhere we don't know. Yeah, but you know, say people moving in, you know, so because our cost for living still is reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now as we come to the, you know, the business side, say the family business from the town hall, and then easy to get in and out, you know, for the, you know, 395, 101, Route 6. So you think about the hour, you know, say highway, you know, say all the, you know, the making out. I'm from Boston, you know, so hour and 15 minutes in Chinatown. That's another problem. Why people moving in comparison, you know, say moving in comparison is because of cost. School system is the most important, of course. I gotta change earlier, say realtor gotta find out the school weighting, you know, say what is how great is the school system. That is not allowed to grade the school system by realtor. Realtor only pointed to the, you know, say west side. You check out yourself by the buyer. You can't point it out. You can point it out for, yeah, you can promote it. Yeah, that's exactly by the code of ethics.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Paul.
So as far as the businesses, like the local businesses on Main Street, some of the feedback that I've gotten is, well, not even just that. We had like a big get together at Westfield Church. I don't know if any of you I tuned in live about the homeless or the unhoused population. Is there a way to like create some sort of, maybe even like jobs for people to, in like I don't know, one of the buildings that we have, and like create a space for people to live, to help?
Do you want to answer that, Chris?
Oh, you don't want that one, Bill? So those programs are usually require heavily subsidized funding, and where that funding's coming from is still a mystery right now. We have a government shutdown, so that's part of the solution. Getting back to the downtown and the businesses, I came in May in 2020. Since that time, just in the downtown, we've opened 31 new businesses and revitalized the 140 Main Street block. It was an Economic Development Commission. So success builds on success. You know, solving that problem, how do you get people to come downtown if there's not enough foot traffic? How do you generate foot traffic? And the pathway to purchase has to be understood, well lit, and feel safe. So those are things that we've been working on, you know, continuously. And so I think you'll see more of the same, because success is building on success. Getting back to Dale's comment of how it's harder to do business with big business these days. It's his experience. And we have programs. The biggest purchaser of goods and services is government. And we have programs through, it's called Apex, it's an accelerator, to help small businesses understand the pathway, what they need to do business with government. Also, for example, Putnam Plastic, it's one of our fast growth companies. They started out with 3 guys. We're never in Putnam, by the way. But now they have 3 campuses and almost 600 employees, and they hire local vendors to come in and do their work. Also, you know, the landscaping and food trucks, and I think they have a personal trainer that comes in. So big business does feed small business. Corporate may be a little bit more challenging, but even, you know, as CEOs and plant managers switch out, it gets a little bit more challenging. But with the workforce too, and I've been keeping track of data since I've gotten here, because I love to see, you know, what trends are. We have a shrinking workforce. Every community in Connecticut, that's their big angst. You know, it's the baby boomers are starting to exit the workforce. And there's not enough kids coming in fast enough to fill those gaps. So you will see that everywhere you go. So companies are becoming very competitive in trying to attract workforce. And some of the things that, you know, Killingly offers to attract that workforce is that quality of place to raise a family. But then, you know, we can talk about supply and demand on housing playing a factor. And right-sized, right-priced housing for that workforce, or that entry-level workforce, is another one of those pieces of the puzzle.
Okay, Paul.
Yeah, we kind of lost that window of the mill conversions, which a lot of communities use to pull those people in who want to live in condos, apartments, et cetera. I think my question I had was, you kind of answered, you've opened 31 businesses since 2020. How many of them are still in business? And what is it? Because when I'm going to open a business, I got to figure I'm doing it to make money. Simple as that. And that's what we all do. Well, where do you? I think that's the question: is how do the people who are going to work on Main Street, who are going to open a business on Main Street? They're not drawing just from Killingly; they are drawing from surrounding communities. So the question being, and I hate to kind of say that, but how do you sell Main Street to somebody who wants to open up a storefront that maybe someday will grow into something?
Sure. So out of those 31 businesses, I believe 29 are still in existence. Some of them moved, but they didn't move out of town. They expanded to different locations, so like Chop Shop and Gloria's Kitchen. That's an economic developer's dream. Not only did they start their business here, they expanded their business here. And some of those sunset of businesses is, dynamics, life changes, right? And owning a business is hard, it's risky,
Oh, yeah.
but working for someone is hard and it's risky. But one of the things that we do in Killingly that I think also is unique, we do a lot of economic gardening. And in your annual report, you will see that we started a small business academy, which is free to the community. 16 years old and up, students are very entrepreneurial. And we've had 5 students under the age of 18 go through the program and open businesses. And so you'll see that conversion. Sometimes they go through the program and they said, no, owning a business is not for me. But we have some great success stories coming out of that Small Business Academy. The next one is in March 21st to March 17th to April 21st, and it's at the Killingly Library on Tuesday nights. It's once a week. We bring in industry professionals to help coach them through. It's, yeah, it's meant to be a boot camp and resource rich.
How is that promoted?
Through the Killingly Library and also online.
Okay.
And they sign up through the library. We cap it at about 20 so that they can actually work on their business plans in real time.
One of the answers from our, a main theme in the surveys we've been giving is like about 70% of the people that have taken the survey have said that they get most of their information of what's going on in the town via Facebook or some sort of town groups. So if you want to get more people in, that's a great way to reach out.
Sure,
That was gonna be my
we
question,
utilize
'cause
that.
I've heard a lot of success stories. I've heard some gray skies, but that's national. That's across the side. I'm in construction. The average age of a carpenter is in their late 40s, early 50s. And it's not, there is a wave of people understanding that college doesn't have to be the only way. But you're 5-10 years away from those folks being prepped, coming through the trade schools, whatever it might be. That all being said, heard a lot of successes, 29 out of 31. How is it, am I looking in the wrong place? How are you marketing that to the greater world of entrepreneurs or those kind of folks who might be looking to, where am I gonna start? Because I think, you started and you stayed. And you might have other places and you might have restaurants in other communities or something like that, but you've stayed and all of that. Where is this all marketed?
Personally, when we started, we built it, say we want to expand. You don't remember that and say that if you look into the franchise, see just about that giant fast food, how they build their supply. They don't build a unit, they build say their bed and their kitchen and warehouse. So when you have a 1 unit and 10 unit, you're buying power. So when we started, first 5 years, so we built a second one in Putnam, third one in Plainfield at the time, before my breakup with my brother in Danielson.
No, and I understand that, but what I'm asking about is
Yeah.
how is the
What?
town of Killingly marketing
Yeah.
the town's success? That's, where is that being sold? I know Cody mentioned Facebook, and I love that business program, because there's nothing better to find out that you don't want to do business without putting money in. But how is this marketed to the rest of Connecticut, et cetera? How great you're doing, and you're doing?
So, Chief Opportunity, but also Chief Excitement Officer. Every Thursday morning at 6:45, I'm down at a regional networking group talking about opportunities in Killingly. And I have made that commitment since 2020, and Jaylee knows that I come flying in on Thursday morning. So we talk about those small opportunities, but also through the realtor groups, we talk about the bigger opportunities, and making sure that they know we're not closed just because we have this moratorium. There are opportunities to be found. So we're doing our best.
I'm just asking,
Yeah.
because
How-
like I said, this is just.
How big is that outreach, though? That's what we're asking. You go to that group, how far out does that group reach? Does it reach just in Connecticut, New England, the country?
I would say New London County, all of New London County, and then Wyndham, Wyndham, part of Wyndham.
Even maybe, you know, the Worcester to, you know, the Rhode Island, because, you know, say, mentioned about the, you know, say, realtor meeting. The realtor meeting is a from, Connecticut chapter, you know, to, you know, say, all over, even, Massachusetts, you know, so you want to know that what is the regulation in the local town government and city government. So that's a gathering, I say, that we learn from each other and share a little bit, you know, what you need, what I have, and then we share that.
Are you wondering, Fred, whether this should be marketed even a little further?
Well, that's, I would think that we would be trying to market outside New England if we're looking to draw business and people.
That's where Advanced CT, our partnership with Advanced CT, we were able to attract a company from Texas that bought the Jolly Concrete. They came up from Texas, so that was a collaboration between, you know, us and Advanced CT.
We've heard a lot about the business elements, small business, big business, about the need for employees trained and keeping them here. Other than those elements, is there anything else about the town in your vision? I'm not sure what. What comes to mind, for example, is that Putnam has this committee that organizes, all kinds of events all the time and keeps to track people in crazy. Do you have any other thoughts about what Killingley should have in the next 10 to 15 years?
I don't know, still around next 20, 30 years, you know, so that's something.
We'll give you 20.
Yeah. So, to your question, they say that, you know, we gotta have a open mind, you know, the open policy, you know, see, there's some, somehow they say that, difficulty, you know, say, to predict something is that we don't have, you know, so data on hand. And you gotta remember that, you know, say, our town council change it every 2, 4 or 5 years.
But still, you
Yeah,
can still
that-
have a vision.
Yeah, and then hopefully, you know, the pro-business. I truly believe that it's the education, pro-business, small business that retaining the small business, and promote the, you know, say, local culture. And then what is about, you know, say, Big Yard program. And then is it still on? The Big Yard, you know, we have, yeah. Yeah, that's a trust, you know, the, our, you know, the surrounding neighbor town come to the, you know, the Oakdale Park. I see that, you know, I walk in the Oakdale Park, you know, I see that, you know, the people, we do have, you know, family with younger children, they park there, but they from Rhode Island license plate, and also from, you know, the Massachusetts license plate. So you keep in mind, I say that we're a small town. Everything is come with the money, come with the funding, come with the tax base.
Of course. Yeah.
And then, you know, so guarantee you, the tax will go up. Never become down.
Sorry.
Yeah, the tax base is say that, you know, the all the overhead. So we do need more business to come to the town and share the burden.
Yes.
I think that I feel this way is that our job, the whole town's job, is to keep business here. Whether it's industrial, commercial, startup businesses. The problem with, I'll give you an example of Plainfield. Plainfield just opened up Amazon down on the old dog track. Or I don't know how many people they hired. Where'd those people come from? They're gonna open up Uline. That building's 1.3 million square feet. Costco, if that goes through, is almost 2 million feet, correct? Where are these people coming from? So we can try to draw other business here, but if they don't have the workforce, They're gonna take from this person, because our generation, when we went to work, you stayed there for most of your life. People
Yeah.
change on a whim today. They don't care, they just walk out. One of our customers in the industrial park brought 5 people in 2 weeks. 4 of them left, because they came in and said, I ain't working here. You know, just because they didn't wanna do the work, not that, I'm not gonna say the name of the company, but the place is clean, they pay decent, they're great to work for, they're always giving them something, parties, or taking them here, taking them there, whatever. So, our job, I think, is to keep the businesses we have. Like I said, all our businesses in our park are all good businesses. There's no fly-by-nighters I've heard of, they all pay their bills, they all support Killingly. When you go to ask them, when we did the 300th anniversary in, I forgot what year that was, but one of our local businesses gave us over $3,000 in money and in supplies, okay? So I feel that we need to keep our businesses here, and if something spins off of it, all well and good. But I don't think it's right to try to bring, like, it wouldn't be right for us to try to bring another Frito-Lay here.
No, but that comes back to needing to get that sewer plant, because Frito-Lay,
It does, yep,
they're
yep.
in talks now about cutting back some, so they're changing how they use the water,
Well, they're
right?
trying to hold, because it costs money, waste costs money today.
Right, but that's why,
Waste
that's
costs
why
money
it
to
gets
get rid of.
back to we need a
Yep.
better plant.
Yep, we need a better plan, that's top priority of this town, that's what they should be doing. Not us, we can't do it, but the
No.
town should. And as far as the commercial will come and go as it goes. People keep comparing us to say, well, we're not Putnam. Well, like I said before, the thing Putnam has is their main street is not where all their things are done.
No.
It's over where the courthouse is and where 85 Main is. So that's town road, that's controlled. The little main
Yeah.
street is just from the railroad trestle to the bottom of the hill. Oh, it's all that, but that's what it is. There's no events going on in those places,
I know.
per se.
Yeah.
You know, Putnam was luckily, they had a gentleman saw the idea of bringing in the antiques, and it worked out really well for him, because Putnam was really going down. He brought it back. The theater, to me, is what brought Putnam back. It's got the restaurants open at night. Even though they're not open, they got there and they developed. We have the Killingly Business Association, just like Putnam does, and they're trying to bring business back downtown and through the town, you know. I think they're doing good. I think we have a great town here. Like I said, we got a great fire companies. Our town is great to work with. I've had a couple of my customers say, well, I'm thinking about doing this. I say, well, let's go into one of these meetings Joe was just talking about. And they come out and say, I didn't expect this to happen.
Yeah.
They put out what they wanna do, and then the staff makes a suggestion. You know, this is what you should do, or this is what we think you should do, not you gotta do this, you know? They're great to work with. I've done that 2 or 3 times, brought customers in, some of my customers in to talk about an addition or whatever, and they leave saying, I can't believe it. I can't believe how easy it is to go through this. We used to, when the power plant wanted to put Unit 4 up, we had a meeting at the Laurel House that the company paid. Elsie and Judy sent out the invitation mostly to the lake people, because that's who involved, so anybody could come. And what we found was, they had the engineers there, the company was there, they made their presentation, and after that, the people could get up and ask questions or go see. There was one old lady, elderly, I'm not gonna call her, elderly lady, that was looking at something on the blueprint, she couldn't figure out what it was. So she walked up to Terry Chambers and says, what is this right here? And he had, I think it was just a storage building. She said, someone told me it was an outhouse. You know, so we found that to be better. And then when they come to zoning, because when you go to zoning, you have to talk to the chairman, then the chairman has to talk to the engineer over there. You know, you can't get it. We found that to be better. So we do reach out and try to make things better for industry, for commercial, whatever they're gonna do. Commercial, to me, is gonna keep, like I said, 90% of small businesses don't make it. That's a proven fact, don't make it. As far as your question about the getting into the river, This young lady right here is a lady you probably should be talking to. Conservation.
We will be talking to her.
You know? It's a great idea. There's not enough, you know, the rivers are being, the 5 Mile River, when you go up through Blueville and up in Pineville and Wausau, all the trees are all in the river now, and you can't fish there anymore. They don't even stock it anymore. You know, so that stuff is being taken away from us out here.
If I might make a slight change note, but in terms of process, your commission, do you set up annual goals, or do you have a 4 or 5 year plan? Do you have something that you are now monitoring and you're going along, yeah, we're working on this, we're working on that, we're doing this, we're doing that? Do you have anything like that?
We always have a goal, but you know, goals are just a wish list. Without the sewer plant, go nowhere. For example, you know, someone called me about so the building, they have a sewer connect, but to change the use, the change of use is not allowed in the sewer plant. You know, the consumption, waiting. So that means you ban the, exchange to a new use. So that is they stop a lot, the improvement, the allow the building investment from the whoever who is an investor. So you gotta learn from the killing what is a killing sewer plant. When the sewer plant will be opened up, for the addition. So that is a big question mark.
Yeah,
Not is about commissioner, EDC, the wish, what we want to do is say that we want to promote and bring in the good quality, business come to the town, and then we have a shovel-ready, we talk about it for years, but you gotta spend the money to make money, right? But the thing is, how you can get the funding.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of grant money, that apply for, but you still a lot to do, so a lot to do, so look like the earlier asked, open space. I also see on the open space, it move a little bit, to go to open space. Open space also some maintain. We have a 2 committee, even chair behind me. I'm a vice chair, it's a chairman behind. Open space, we want to, keep the community green, and then, the use, for outdoor, my point of view, because I grew up in Hong Kong. So when you see the, Hong Kong square foot is about 300 square foot per unit, about $600,000 US. So you think about it, you don't own the land, the one of them maybe 1,000 in the building. So come to here, open space, I say, wow, waste of money. Yeah, so
Don't say that too loudly in town.
No, we spoil, say, no, we live in, the 1,000 square foot house, say comparison. Because you don't have a choice. Now come here, we have a choice. People can move in, can come here, can see the environment around. What is a business, a community? What is our downtown area? We should give the credit to, so all the volunteer, say to become one.
Oh, it's there, okay.
Okay, I thought you was trying to stop me talk too much.
No, it's okay.
No, I say that, should, the thank you to all the committee, say volunteer. Say also say Northeast Chamber of Commerce. I was Chamber board member for 9 years. Yeah, I was so with the local, represent the town of Killingley to NDDH for 10 years. So I did my share. I really enjoyed it. It's why I stay in Killingley, because I see that people know people. So and some the really friendly face. Say small town area. I travel a lot. I travel to all over. You earlier asked, say how you promote it. I even promote it in overseas. You see that, say I put my jacket on. I say that where you from, and then say where I come from. So where I live. Okay, so somehow it's today's social media, that's inexpensive. But say town gotta change the so social media approach. So you don't have to lock door like old day, so you go into lock door. When you need a supply and demand, the rule say that that if we already good enough, so just accept what you want to be. So we are quiet, say quiet corner, say but you're not too quiet now. Thank you all.
We've only just recently received your report. It's an annual report that you put out,
Correct.
and in which you basically do what I was talking about. You indicate, I glanced at it very quickly, but it was a lot. It was 40 pages that I got. But
Oh, that was the POCD, the Economic Development.
oh no,
section
okay,
of the
no,
POCD.
okay, no, that's not the one.
So when you asked if the commission has goals, taking him back from Hong Kong, was that we are continually working through the POCD objectives, but they were tasked to come up with 3 new objectives because we're working through a lot of those.
So you have a list of objectives that
Well,
they're in here?
The POCD is our marching orders for the town. It was designed by the residents. And so we go through those objectives. So what can we work on? Sometimes our hands are tied, but we're working through those. And then we just had our annual meeting, new set of officers, and they were asked to come to the table for the next meeting with 3 new objectives. So some of it's the brownfield revitalization. You'll see the grants. Those things take time. There's abandoned mill statutes that we have to hit, but we're working through that diligently. Also, we have engagement for the first time in 4 years. I mean, COVID interrupted a lot of flow in meetings, but we have a lot of engagement with the school system now. And so we talk about, what's being offered. I think they have 26 different career pathways. What's being offered over there, how we can support. I know that business networking group that I told you about, that 6:45 every Thursday morning, last year they donated $10,000 to our tech kids to buy tools. And every year, it started with 3, then 6, now 10. And so I foresee that they're going to continue to make investments in our skilled trade. And they don't live here. That's outside. They believe in what we're doing. Chief Excitement Officer over here. So, this is a great cause. There's lots of scholarship money for college students, but sometimes not for the trades. So that's a great KBA program that started, and we add fuel where we can on that. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so, that you do have objectives, you set new objectives, and then you try to work your way through, and you report on them regularly, what you are doing and what you're achieving. Thank you.
We do have 2 pieces of land that we're trying to do they're privately owned. They're not owned by the town, but there are 2 pieces of land that we've talked about for years to add to our industrial park. But it's a long process.
It sounds like the 2 key words that listening to everything, would this be fair to say that Killingly is clean and green?
I think so.
Okay.
Nice.
Clean represents sustainability? That kind of clean?
And clean.
I don't know yet. I was just thinking of like the down trees and cleaning.
Yeah, I look at clean and green as sustainable and environmental friendly. That's funny. That's how
It's a vision, that's the whole
first thing that came to
clean and
mind.
green, right?
So that lovely plaque, Sustainable CT, Killingly was recognized in 2021. That was, and then we got recertified to hit those kind of objectives of sustainability, and it involves, MS4 requirements, impervious surfaces, green energy. I mean, there's a whole list of points that you get to get that certification. It is a heavy lift if you want to see the binder. You can come into my office, it's about this big, submission to get certified. And you know what your reward is? That little plaque.
Good. You have a question?
Not in the building. So a lot of people ask me about the Walgreens Distribution Center. That is owned by a real estate investment trust, not by Walgreens. But Walgreens they signed up for a 15-year lease. They still have 13 years on that lease. So they're paying. It is being marketed through JLL. Unfortunately, that building was built in the 80s, and distribution has changed since the 80s. But it's being maintained. They have a loss prevention group out there, making sure they're very responsive if I have any issues.
So it is at max capacity then. The only way to expand now would be those additional land just
And running the infrastructure for wastewater treatment. Yes.
You have just overall vacancy for commercial properties in the town. Like, how are we doing in terms of just, small business, medium business, large business? Just, do we have any metrics around what's available for?
So I do keep a database of what's for sale that I know about. Some of it's under private ownership. So someone mentioned the old drive-in. That is for sale. When people are looking for particular uses that meets that criteria or that underlying zone, I will connect them with the property owner. There are those opportunities, and I will continue. Like the Benny's, we have the 2 Benny's stores. Talk about the evolution of retail. It was designed and built for their spec, so we had a heck of a time of getting any other retail in there. It was too big or it was too small. It was changed. One's an appliance store. That was great. That was an expansion from the downtown. And we had another business that wanted to expand, and then they opened a second business in that same location. So that was a slam dunk on that situation. The one over on the southern part of Route 12 was a little bit more challenging. But recently we had a fabricator that wanted to get in there, but the building wasn't designed for the load for metal and welding. So now it's indoor storage. And then they came recently in for an application to expand in the outside of that footprint, and I believe that was approved as well.
Okay. Jen, did you?
Yeah.
So just getting creative and understanding the needs of the business, but also the capacity of our wastewater.
One quick note regarding Benny's. They closed not due to the economy or sales. They closed because the owner wanted to retire. And they did try to sell the group, the entire business, but that model just didn't work. So they shuttered all the Benny's, and that was it. But it had nothing to do with killing.
Sure.
Yeah.
And even like the banks, you're going to see banks. A lot of people do things remotely. You're going to see that. I know the Berkshire Bank over by Owen Bell. That's an
Empty.
opportunity.
Yeah.
The Bank of America just sold.
Yes.
That's another opportunity. But the change of use is where we get hung up. So unless it's a bank to a bank or an office or the same kind of use, we're back to the same problem. All things wastewater.
Okay, yeah, you had a question. Okay, just, here, Jen.
If we circle back to events, right now we have, let's see, I wrote them down. The Great Easter Egg Hunt, Trick or Treat on Main Street, second Saturday, Small Town Music Festival, the Lao New Year this year, and Killingly Community Night. So, and then one of the other things we were talking about is spending money to make money. I'm heavily involved with volunteering and planning these events. So I was just looking to see if maybe you have any ideas as far as like collaborations with other organizations or sponsorship opportunities to be able to make these events maybe more successful.
So I'm not sure if your commission knows about the Brickyard Project.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Brickyard Project is it was a Connecticut Community Challenge grant, and it's a placemaking grant. It's a $1.8 million project, funded through DECD, and we're ready to break ground, finally, this spring. And the town owns an abundance of parking in the downtown, but you don't make money on parking, right? You talk about land use. However, events bring in money, right? So we have a unique opportunity to create an event space. Often we get compared with Putnam. Putnam is our sister city. They are great at what they do, but they have a different set of dynamics. We have Route 12 that dumps 10,000 people every day on the road, but they're not engaging with our downtown because they don't know how to engage with our downtown. When you look at the parking in the back, there's over 300 parking spaces. People have no idea, unless you live here. So part of this project is wayfinding, but also infrastructure improvements for ADA upgrades, well-lit, trees, green spaces, so people are not like hanging out in a parking lot. So that should be public sculpture, which sells itself. You talk about marketing something. So that will be breaking ground. The construction season will be one season, so we're not disrupting the whole downtown. But that, I think, would be a great opportunity for public and private partnership on events, because things cost money, but we have small businesses that want to do events. They just need that infrastructure and that space to do it in, and that's the vision of what we can do there. Our Parks and Rec, I will throw down with anybody how wonderful they are and how much they offer for such a small town. It's really unique.
I also think that you should thank you, the Killingley Business Association. Yeah, they did a lot of work.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Somebody else wanna go first?
No, it's yours.
So the next event that we have coming up is this Sunday. It's called Bark Harvest, and it's kind of like marketing our area as dog friendly. And I'm really excited about that. I'm involved in that. And one of the things that we're trying to do for this is not just raise money for the rescues, but also for a possibility of having a dog park. Is that something that, because that's something that's been brought up, is that something that would be possible if we raise the funds for it?
In addition to the dog park, okay. I mean, the proposal, I think, would have to come before the town council. We aren't those decision makers. Lattes and leashes, the lattes and leashes economy. How do you build community? Dogs and coffee. It's amazing.
I wrote that down.
Are there any other questions that people have?
That's a good one, that's a good way to close.
That's it.
We thank, oh, yes, please.
Make a suggestion, I think you should meet with the, I know you.
Dan.
I know you met with zoning. I know you met with zoning, now you met with us. You should meet with the Killing Business Association.
Oh, no, they're on our list. They
A lot
were
of the
supposed to
questions
come
that
previously
you're
and they
asking-
couldn't come. So the thinking I was going to bring up after we finished with you and attending their meeting and maybe doing the presentation during their time. So yes, oh no, they're on our list. Thank you.
All right.
Any other thoughts or comments?
I really appreciate
I had one
what
question.
you're talking about.
One
And I'll be
question.
honest with you, I'm a lot more optimistic than I was when I walked in general. Because quite frankly, all the good things that you were talking about are either being taken for granted by myself or I don't know where to go look for them. And again, taking everything that you said and really, like Frank is saying, trying to tie it into that vision that we have to present
Yeah.
is wastewater treatment aside. It's been a really, really good session. Appreciate the history. I don't go the years back. I look like I do, but not here. The years back, but I understand that those stories, those comparisons are important because it's how they got us here. So I appreciate it. Really do appreciate what you shared.
You had one more question.
The last thing.
You sure?
No. So, when Jill, when you were talking about the regional meeting, is that the same thing as the advanced CT? What was that?
So my networking group to spread all the great things that are going on in Killingly, that is a paid networking group of, I believe we have 60 business owners. And it's really just marketing. They market their businesses, I market what Killingly is all about, and also connecting opportunities for the region, right? So we talk about what's going down in Plainfield. I love that they have those opportunities, but we don't want to be their bedroom service community, right? But housing is an important component of a region, right? So that's why we need to be able to sustain our own commercial tax base and attract those businesses as well. So, you know, what goes on down there affects us, and what happens here affects Putnam. You know, we're a few miles apart.
Thank you.
Okay.
Could you, or I don't know, host that group of 60 people, the networking group here, or do you have to travel?
No, it's a fixed location because they're coming from so many different places. I have invited them up here. We've done after hours and things like that. And some of them are industry experts, and they have taught at my Small Business Academy. I mean, I have a CPA, that 38 years in business CPA for small business, and he freely gives his time. They're amazing groups. The business community is just by far so generous in this part of the state. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Okay. We thank you again for coming. We appreciate it very, very much. And thank you. I noticed 2 people in the audience. Do you want to say anything quickly or not? No. No. Okay. Okay. No. All right. I'm going to make a suggestion that we move forward and not do the review of since it's late.
Yeah.
That we not do the review of last week. But I would like to make a decision as to the.
hard time hearing you.
Oh, sorry. I would still like to make you to make a decision as to which groups we should see next. Killingly Business Association. Would you all be? Okay, I have a couple of questions in anticipation. Some of these meetings, like KBA, are during the day. I can do it because I'm retired. Fred is totally retired. He has nothing to do. And the rest of you, are any persons available during the day or not? And I know you have jobs. That's why. I don't want you to feel offended if just a few retired people do some of these things.
I was thinking 5.
I was told that.
Like I said, I wouldn't wait for something like that, but I would like to know what you do, arrange that. I can probably arrange my schedule to attend and work from home or something.
So if I can get Ashley to get out an email to each of you of the dates, the times, then you could say whether you could come.
Pressure. Oh, you want the buttons off?
I don't know, almost.
Hit your buttons.
Oh, yes, okay, my bad, no, sorry. Other than the Business Association, what are the next groups that we should talk to?
I'm gonna.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, everything's pointing to the sewer plan. What commission is that? And we can't get them in here fast enough, I think, because we gotta know what their plan is, right?
That,
might be wasted.
I've heard might be very difficult, but I'll make a point of checking town manager probably, and I know somebody who's on the sewer commission.
Yeah.
On the board to see, okay? So I'll make a note, the sewer. It strikes me that the other thought is, during the day, I think it would have to be, to get into the education, the high school.
Sure.
That's my
Okay,
next.
as to how best to work with them, their seniors, as well as if they have a parent-teachers association and so forth. So that's another one. So,
Well, can I just
Yes.
Are you talking about having those organizations come here? Because my thought was when we were at community night, I met the principal and she talked about us coming and just doing to the cell or the introduction to the kids who are in the programs after school, to have them participate in filling up. I am strongly supporting Cody's road to 5,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we're gonna take the road to 5,000, we've gotta go out.
Yes.
And so what I'd like to do, because I think, aren't we supposed to have a report by December 2026?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's a year away.
We gotta move.
We gotta, yeah, and I think this was awesome and it's important, and I get snippets that could be used in vision. But I think we've got to really take the show on the road.
Yes.
Not in a public meeting type thing. So I would like to ask, maybe as part of an agenda item for next meeting, we've all talked, and we have in the minutes who we should be talking to. And like the next thing is, okay, let's decide on how and who, divide and conquer, for lack of a better term. Some of those, like you said, you guys have more flexibility during working day than a lot of us. Others might say if it's planned, I can be there, that type of thing. And I just want to start thinking about that to where we get some kind, because like I said, 5,000 is my number. I mean, your number.
So, specifically,
The specific question is to come to the next meeting with an idea of, okay, Paul and Glenn are gonna focus on business or something like that, and then maybe, we gotta talk about schools. What part of school? This PTA association, how do we get to those organizations? I don't have answers to them, but and I'm being very vague right now because I don't have a good answer to that. I want to just start developing the outreach plan. And like I said, we all know who, let's start talking about how.
How do we get to the 5,000?
It's a big, hairy, audacious goal, is what the old book used to call it.
Yeah,
The
just
BHAG.
If you get in front of the KBA, can we also hand them a survey during that meeting? We said, before you leave this meeting, you know what I mean? Those three left,
Yes.
we didn't give them a survey. Like, we should just
Yes,
have
yes,
them,
oh, no.
As we meet with them, we're handing them stuff.
And I think if it's just something as simple as a card with the QR,
With the QR on it.
and again, we've got a million of those.
QR code, I think, is where,
Yeah, but-
especially like with the school.
Yeah.
If you
Yes.
get the QR code
Yeah.
to the high school,
Mm-hmm.
God, I don't know how many
Yeah.
kids are in the high school this day, but if you get half of the kids to use the QR code.
And I agree, but it's getting to them
Right.
without just hanging out by the front door, because that will attract attention. But my thought is, if you could just make the arrangements with the different principals, and then one of the things that I really wanted to focus on was the elementary schools, et cetera, because I think that's where you're gonna get your 10-year planners from, those parents. That type of stuff. But I don't have the answers to how, I don't have the answers as, who do we call, who do we arrange that with?
Let me just tell you, I had a very quick conversation at a breakfast meeting with some of the education persons on the board. And the idea was, we could go into the high school, hand out to every student, high school student, to start with the QR, with the questions. Send these in, guys. We could discuss with them for the lower levels, as well as the parent-teacher. So it's at the point, I don't know exactly how, but they were agreeable. They said, oh, that's a good idea. We could work with you. Okay? So that would start getting you the 5,000 there. So if you're agreeable, I would be willing, within the next few days this week, to go to the school superintendent and say, this is what we want to do with you. How can we do it? Let's do it. Agreeable?
It's one, like I said, it's one thing to
Is
hand
that
them a
all right?
card, it's another thing to the 10-second sell.
Yeah.
But you need to be there to do the 10-second sell. And, so, anyway, I appreciate you humoring me on all of that.
Okay.
The long road to a short street.
So I've made a note, certainly the Killingley Business Association, the schools we've talked about. I made a note of the sewer. I'll look into that. We'll see. That's a tricky one. They.
Once you adjourn the meeting and then.
Okay. Okay, did you want to, before we adjourn? Okay.
So our next KBA meeting that anybody can come to is next Thursday morning at 8:30 at Killingly Public Library, and I'll already be there. So is there anyone, like, can we just do it next week?
Is that next week?
Yeah, Thursday at 8:30.
Next week, Thursday at 8:30.
Yeah, and anyone can make an announcement. You don't have to be a member or anything, so we can,
No.
there's a time during the meeting to make an announcement if you have an announcement, so we can say something.
What I personally think is more than an announcement, I would like to get input from all the people there. Is that appropriate? Or does
How
that
long
need to
is
be
that?
arranged ahead of time?
If we wanna do the surveys, we could do that in the meeting. But if there's gonna be a big conversation, that would have to be, so we could maybe do just the surveys next week and then open it up and in person talk to them about a time of when we could come to a meeting and do a
Okay.
presentation.
Jada, would it be acceptable to also ask them to bring stuff back to the workplace, maybe hanging in the break room?
That's what we do, every
and-
every
Yeah,
month we
so
do
we
that.
could give them collateral to bring, as
Yep.
well as fill out the
Okay.
survey themselves.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Are there other persons here who would be willing or able, time-wise, to do that on Thursday at 8:30? Anybody? I mean, I can do it.
Not tomorrow Thursday, next Thursday.
Yeah, next week, Thursday.
I have the, wait, no, I'm looking at December. Sorry,
Okay.
it is the sixth,
It is the
November
sixth.
6th, yeah.
I'm running the food share up in.
So you
under
cannot.
that.
I can be there, I'm just, so the purpose would be what, though? What would I be doing?
Survey.
My-
Explain what we are.
Right. I can be there, Frank.
That's why I'm wondering if this quick one is the right one to do it. I would like us to make a 3-minute presentation of why we're having the vision, and please, all you members that are attending, give us your data, what you would like in the vision. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's
Even
fine.
if it was more than 3 minutes, people go up there and will talk 5 or more minutes.
Well,
during an
what if you had 30 people, each want to talk 3 minutes? That's gonna go okay, or they're gonna limit us?
It's never that many people, that's usually at the most maybe like
Have a yellow card.
7 or 8
There you
people.
go, right.
They're really nice about it.
Okay,
And,
So this is where we held the last, I haven't been in
You're
town
right.
long, so this is the library I was at last
Yes.
week,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
I can,
he's new to town, isn't
I'll
he?
be, I'll be down the street. Yes, I can go, and Jay Lee, you just kinda, you seem to have an idea, right, maybe you take the reins and I'll stand next to you, yeah.
But get them to fill out the survey.
Right.
okay.
Do we have the surveys so we can bring them?
I need one. Or some.
Beautiful.
Ashley? You're fine.
You too, yeah. Okay, so Thursday at 8:30 though, okay.
I don't do copies.
Stuff for them to bring back to their customers.
And I have one
business
last
too,
thing.
like
I have one last
survey
thing.
to hang in the break room.
Yes, okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
One more thing.
Survey City, okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna be on Winnie tomorrow morning at 7. What can I say? Like, is there a survey I can bring and talk about the vision committee? And I know, I saw it. But I have time to work. Yeah. What do you want me to just say what it is and like give them the link to take the survey?
Yes, right, the link, right? Probably reference that. Do we have a
Have-
website or where they should go and fill that
Ask
out?
Gary to post it.
You can maybe mention, yeah.
The link to the QR code,
Yeah.
or the QR code was on our website. I don't think it is any longer.
I have the link in my notes.
But I don't know, how do you project that through the radio?
I can send it to Gary, like message it or email it to Gary and he can put it on the post.
Perfect.
So do that.
Okay, all right. Yeah, update them. They did have the 7 questions previously. We gave them that sheet.
Okay, is there another one I could take with me tomorrow?
Not with me.
That's fine. That's fine.
Can Ashley get you one? She can get you one real
I
fast.
have to be there at 7 a.m. I know.
Any other thought? By the way, I don't know, do we need to, these 2020 meeting dates, they were deliberate, and basically at this point, let's say they're all okay.
Yeah.
Is everybody in agreement?
Right.
They're all okay.
Yes, sir.
Good, approved.
Thank you. I think the next one for us is December, if I'm not mistaken, the first week of
There's
December.
not one in
because of,
November, it's early
right, okay.
December, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Other than that,
I have it. There's one in my folder already.
All right, let's make a
Excellent.
motion to close.
yes,
Third, wait, okay.
Adjourn, who's made
Aye.
the motion, who's the second, whatever. Thank you,
seconded,
everybody.
okay.
I think it was a
Thank
very
you.
good meeting. Very good meeting.